Yeah, granddaddy. Well, let's talk about the expert right now. Today, we're talking about the importance of microchipping your pets.
So joining us this afternoon, Heidi Boyd, Associate Director of Individual Giving at the Wisconsin Humane Society. And the importance of microchipping, you know, we just saw this story about the tornadoes down in Louisiana. And when you get houses destroyed, buildings, flipped over and things like that, animals can tend to scatter at that point, and you're like, okay, where'd the cat go?
That's absolutely true. You know, statistics show, it's a little bit shocking, but 1 in 3 pets will go missing at some point in their life. And sometimes it's a natural disaster like you described. Sometimes it's just the dog got off the leash or out of the fence in the backyard. So it's really important to consider ways that you can keep that animal close by, or when they're found, how can we track them down and get them back to their home?
Talk about microchipping, because some people may not know about the technology and how invasive it is.
Sure, it's actually very non-invasive. It's smaller than a grain of rice, and it's actually inserted between the animal's shoulder blades. It just is like any other shot that they'll get from the vet. They might feel a small pinch, but otherwise there's really no injury that they feel.
Recovery time?
I'm sorry?
Recovery time?
Oh gosh, 2 minutes less.
Okay.
I mean, they barely, some dogs barely flinch, which is great. Each microchip is assigned a unique number. So what happens if your animal is found by a police officer or ends up at a shelter or a vet, the first thing they'll do is scan the animal for that microchip. So it's important to keep your registration and your contact information up to date.
So it sounds simple. Is it expensive?
It is not expensive. In fact, we offer them at our vaccine clinics, which we do every 2 weeks at our shelter. And so that's something that you can do. It's $25 and relatively painless, in and out in less than an hour if there's a long line.
What information is on the chip? Is it really just the identity of the owner?
There'll be a number, and then, yes, exactly. So you'll enter that number into the registry, and then you can find the owner's contact name and information if you've kept it up to date.
Okay. We hear these remarkable stories about, dogs, especially, that can wander at a great distance, and all of a sudden they just...
I'm laughing because there's hair.
Oh, they got that.
Sorry.
So, with your dogs, cats,
rats, anything.
We microchip every dog and cat that's adopted out at the shelter.
You do.
Yes.
And tell us about this cutie right here that you're stroking.
This is Mott, and she is a 6-month-old kitten. She's available for adoption just as soon as we get back to the shelter this afternoon, and she is just a snuggler.
Yes. Well, Heidi, thank you very much for coming in and talking about this important topic. So if you have a question for our experts, email them at asktheexpert@todaystmj4.com. You can also leave a voicemail. We have the number right there for you. It's 414-967-5253.